Good evening. The NVUSD Board of Education is holding a regular virtual board meeting tonight that all can participate in remotely. You can join via Zoom. Specific directions on how to participate are located on the Board of Education webpage on the district's website, nvusd.org/board. The open session part of the meeting agenda begins at 7 p.m. Before going into closed session, the board is available for public comment on closed session agenda items. Mr. Michaels, is there any public comment on closed session items?
There is no public comment on closed session items.
Thank you very much. Seeing that there are none, the NVUSD district will now adjourn into closed session.
We didn't have any comments before 8 a.m.
Oh, Trustee Water.
We did not have any comments before public comments before 8 a.m. today.
Thank you very much. Good evening. We have reconvened at 7:04. Good evening. My name is Robin Jankowitz, and this is the Napa Valley Unified School District Board of Education. The NVUSD Board of Education is holding a regular board meeting tonight that all can participate remotely via Zoom or in person here in the boardroom. Interpretation in Spanish is available for tonight's virtual board meeting. Our interpreters are Isidra Mencos and Francisco Meza. May we have one of the interpreters translate the directions on our English channel so our Spanish-speaking families can hear the instructions.
Sí, buenas noches. Estamos aquí en la reunión del distrito, de la Junta Educativa del Distrito Escolar de Napa Valley. La reunión de hoy tiene servicios de interpretación simultánea en español. Para acceder a la interpretación en breves momentos, ustedes van a ver en la parte de abajo de su pantalla de Zoom un icono del globo terráqueo. Van a poder hacer clic en ese icono y escoger el idioma Spanish o español. Si ustedes están en su teléfono móvil, van a ver en la parte superior de su pantalla de Zoom 3 puntitos y dice More o Más. Al hacer clic allí van a ver también los servicios de interpretación y van a poder escoger el idioma español o Spanish. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mencos. May we please start with an attendance roll call from Vera Morales, Executive Assistant.
Yes, Trustee Jankowitz,
Present.
Trustee Gracia,
Present.
Trustee Water,
Present.
Trustee Reiser,
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Present.
Trustee Shu,
Present.
quorum present. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Napa Valley Unified School District Board meeting. Public participation tonight and moving forward will be both virtual, online, and in person here in the boardroom. Directions on how to participate via Zoom are available at nvusd.org/board. Trustee Water, do we have a report from closed session?
We do. E1 student D1 student discipline, actually D1A. The board recommends for the expulsion for student 6232022A.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Reiser. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Yes, Trustee Jankowitz,
Yes.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Sorry.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the board recommends for the expulsion for student 6232022B.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by Trustee Reiser. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Trustee Jankowitz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the board recommends for the expulsion for student 6232022C.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia,
Second.
Second by trustee Riser. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the board recommends for the expulsion for student 6232022D.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia.
Second.
Second by trustee Riser. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and in 2A personnel, in closed session, the board took action to approve the following staff recommendations effective 2022-23 school year. Number one, Meshach Osborne to the position of interim assistant principal of American Canyon Middle School. 2, Robert Ruth to the position of assistant principal of Unidos Middle School. 3, Abhinav Dev to the position of interim principal of New Technology High School. And 4, Andrew Biggs to the position of interim assistant principal of New Technology High School. Congratulations. And in existing litigation, name of case, OAH case number 20220306889. The board took action to approve a settlement agreement to resolve all issues in the case by a unanimous vote.
Thank you, trustee Water. Dr. Musetti?
Yeah, before we proceed in the agenda, I just want to take a moment and congratulate our new administrators, some of which are online here with us tonight. So I will call them out and let me see here. We'll start out. Mr. Osborne, are you here? And would you like to address the school board? Congratulations on your new appointment to American Canyon Middle School. Is he here, Jordan? Oh, yeah, I see him.
I am.
Okay. Hi, would you like to address the board?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with the ACMS students, the teachers, staff, and community. Go Wildcats.
Thank you.
Go Wildcats. We look forward to seeing you in your new position. Next, we have Mr. Ruth to the position of Assistant Principal of Unidos Middle School, as stated by Trustee Water. Mr. Ruth is here. I see him online.
Good evening. Thank you, board. Thank you, Superintendent Musetti. I really appreciate the opportunity to mark a new era in dual immersion for NVUSD. So thank you all for trusting me to help push this new movement forward. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Ruth. Again, congratulations on your new position. So these are familiar faces starting new positions here in the district on the management team. Newer faces to the management team. Mr. Dev, I see that he's online again, the interim principal of New Technology High School.
Yes, thank you so much to the board, Dr. Musetti, and the Napa Valley Unified School District. I'm truly honored to accept this role and lead New Tech High moving forward. Though we are a small community, we are a passionate one, full of a wide variety of stakeholders who are committed to the growth and development of New Tech. I'm excited and ready to collaborate with our team to achieve our shared goals. Quick thank you to our incredible staff and to Susan Miller, who's been a true mentor to me the last couple of years. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Dev, and welcome to the management team. It's great to have internal candidates rising to our NVUSD management team. And last but surely not least, Mr. Biggs, I see him online as well, the new interim assistant principal of New Technology High School.
Yes, thank you to the board, Dr. Musetti, and broader community of NVUSD. As a graduate and current teacher at NTHS, I'm appreciative of this opportunity and excited to support the community and stakeholders of New Tech High in this new role. I look forward to working with Mr. Dev, the students, staff, and families of the school to build upon what makes the school strong. Once again, thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Biggs. So again, great to see that new internal rising team for New Technology High School in the 22-23 school year.
Thank you, Dr. Massetti. We now have the flag salute, and I would like to ask the students in the audience this evening to lead us in our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This meeting is live streamed and recorded via Zoom and will be archived on the district YouTube channel. For a detailed review of any meeting agenda, the archive video can be referenced and located on the district webpage at nvusd.org. The public can join the virtual board meeting remotely via Zoom. Participation instructions and the process for public comment can be found on the district webpage. Before I call for a motion on the agenda, I would like to amend the agenda. I would like to move J1, A, B, C, and D to precede I1A. Yep.
Second.
Did we get a, I moved it. So first by myself, second by trustee Gracia. All in favor?
Aye.
Amendment approved. And
Move
now
to approve the
I
agenda.
would like to get a motion on approving the agenda, first by trustee Gracia.
Second.
Second by trustee Riser, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, moving on to approval of the minutes,
Move to approve.
first by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. And Dr. Massetti.
Yeah, so like to proceed with recognition of our visitors and employee organizations. I see that Miss Gail Young, President of the Napa Valley Educators Association, is here this evening. Would you like to address the board, Ms. Young?
Good evening, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Musetti. I am so glad this year is coming to an end. We've had another challenging year, but it's been a good one. And I'm glad that we've done so many wonderful things and we're getting back to being school and normal school. I'd like to introduce our new lead negotiator.
Hi, I'm Deb Sinclair. I'm at Napa High School, and so I'll be working closely with Gail as lead negotiator. I'm very excited.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome and congratulations.
We have no other employee organizations present this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Massetti. We're moving to public comment on non-agenda items. Members of the audience may address the board on any school-related matter that is not on the agenda. The board will not take action on any issue raised during this section of the agenda inasmuch as board action is limited to posted agenda items. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Okay, we do have some in-board. Mr. Beglinger, please come and address the board. Come to the podium, please.
First meeting I've ever been to.
Well,
but,
welcome.
Thank you. I thought I'd come and see what you guys do and try and get a little bit more involved. I do have a concern that was brought to my attention. I just wanted to comment on it, and hopefully at some point we can determine whether or not the school board is going to move forward with this proposal or suggestion. I'm not sure exactly what it is. This information was brought to my attention. And it was basically in reference to something that looks like you guys are going to put forward. It's called the genderbread person and the gender unicorn. Is that anything that, I guess you're not going to answer me, but this is something that was brought to my attention that was going to be implemented in the schools here in the Napa Valley area. And for what I believe is this is something that we shouldn't necessarily need to be teaching in school. I think we should be focusing on education, which education is reading, writing, arithmetic. So I'm hoping that this information is inaccurate, and that we are going to continue and move forward in strengthening our focus on our children's education. So I would like to try at some point from somebody to hear back to let me know if this is in fact something that that the board or the state or somebody is looking at proposing to start in the fall.
Please feel free to email me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, Norma, please have your daughter and your nieces address the podium.
Lower the mic.
Hello, board members, superintendent, and all of NVUSD community. My name is Norma Ortiz Braza, a Redwood Middle School warrior. Dear Principal Marianne Christopherson, we truly appreciate all your kindness, dedication, perseverance, availability, compassion, and support towards the RMS warriors. Thank you for all your important and special actions. We will definitely miss you with all our heart. I still remember the time I started learning English and Spanish in kindergarten, and now I can give these words relating to how wonderful of a principal you are. I would also like to thank all my teachers, including Mrs. Solani, Mr. Wren, Mr. Estes, Mr. Burns, Ms. Terap, Ms. Ford, Mr. Wilmarth, and Ms. Bergen. I'm still an excellent student because of them. I also appreciate all the principal Marianne Christopherson. For example, for all of those moments she was there for us, including our Overcoming Adversity book event, string concerts, etc. It has been and continues to be an honor to participate in our ELAC happenings here at RMS. I love the principal Christopherson. It's so strict, but also very respectful and flexible where needed, and cares about the well-being of her students. A true role model for all of us. This school has definitely shown me excellent things with its great team of personals. RMS is supporting my path to reach my goals and dreams of one day in the near future becoming a doctor. From distance learning and Zoom to in-person education and more, we are all going to miss you, Principal Christopherson. Thank you with love and admiration and respect. Once a warrior, always a warrior. Hola, estimada mesa directiva, superintendente y toda la comunidad del Distrito Unificado de Valle de Napa. Mi nombre es Norma Ortiz Baraza. Estimada directora Christopherson, realmente apreciamos toda su amabilidad, dedicación, perseverancia, disposición, compasión y apoyo hacia los guerreros de la secundaria Redwood. Gracias por todas sus acciones importantes y especiales. Definitivamente los vamos a extrañar con todo nuestro corazón. Todavía recuerdo el momento en que comencé a aprender inglés y español en el kinder, y ahora puedo presentar y dar estas palabras a una directora maravillosa. También quiero dar las gracias a mis maestros, la señora Sovali, maestro Wren, maestro Estes, maestro Burns, maestra Terap, maestra Ford, maestro Wilmarth y maestra Bergen. Sigo siendo un excelente estudiante y un gran medida gracias a ellos. También aprecio todo el tiempo que nuestra directora Christopher nos ha brindado. Por ejemplo, para todos los eventos en que ha hecho acto de presencia, incluyendo el de Superando la Adversidad con mi ensayo, conciertos de violín y etc. Ha sido y sigue siendo un honor participar en el comité aprendices de inglés de mi secundaria Redwood. Me encanta que la directora Christopherson es estricta, pero también muy respetuosa, flexible y se preocupa por el bienestar de los alumnos, incluyéndome. Un verdadero modelo a seguir para nosotros. Esta escuela definitivamente me ha enseñado cosas excelentes y es una escuela revolucionaria con un gran equipo de aprendizaje sin duda. Esta escuela me está impulsando en el camino para seguir mis metas y sueños de poder ser una doctora. Con amor y profunda admiración, la queremos mucho. These flowers are for you, Ms. Christopherson, virtually. And on behalf of Redwood Middle School alumni, we love you. Warrior. Good afternoon, board members, Redwood Middle School and community. My name is Alexis Lorzano. Dear Principal Marianne Christopherson, I am looking forward in attending Redwood Middle School because I feel like Redwood Middle School has great education and experience. I feel confident going to Redwood because I heard good comments and of Redwood. I feel happy and excited to attend Redwood Middle School. I am not just excited, I am also excited for the knowledge and to meet the new teachers and Principal Christopherson. I also like to be friendly and open and fair with people. And lastly, I want to talk a little about myself. I like to play sports and I have 3 favorite ones. First is basketball, soccer, and volleyball. And I also like to turn in my work on time and have everything neatly. Once a warrior, always a warrior. Thank you. Good evening, board members, Redwood Middle School and community. My name is Scarlett Lorzano. Dear Principal Marianne Christopherson, I am looking forward in attending Redwood Middle School because I feel like Redwood Middle School has a great education. I felt welcome to this great school. I also can't wait to make lots of new friends. I am happy and excited to meet all the teachers. I feel like Redwood Middle School is a great school to attend every day. I can't wait to learn new things. I'm also not just happy for the fun things, but I'm also very happy for the great knowledge. I am also looking forward to attend sports at Redwood. Basketball is my top 10 favorite sport. Now I want to talk a little bit about myself. First of all, I like to learn a lot of new things every day. I also love to play sports. I also like to show a great example to the ones around me. I like to follow rules and show respect and kindness to my teachers and principal. I love to help my teachers and principal when needed. Lastly, I think Redwood would lead me to a great future with my education. Redwood warriors lead me to a big, smart warrior. Once a warrior, always a warrior.
My name is Jacqueline. I'm dedicating these words to a great word. Thank you, Ms. Christopherson, for these 15 years, for everything you have taught us in your trajectory. I will take them with me always. A thank you is not enough to express what we feel. They have been difficult times, but with your support and the support of all my teachers, I have made it to 8th grade. I will have liked you to have you as my principal for my last year at Redwood Middle School. Thank you, thank you, Ms. Christopherson. We wish you from the bottom of our hearts that you enjoy your new phase of your life. Thank you very much. With love, Jacqueline Crispar. Once a warrior, always a warrior.
Hello, my name is Marco Rios Cruz and I attend Redwood Middle School. Thank you, Ms. Christopherson, for being a great principal to the RMS Warriors. We will all miss having you as a principal. 15 years is a very long time to be a principal of a school. I haven't even been alive for 15 years, but yet that's the amount of time she has spent being the principal. So I just wanted to appreciate Ms. Christopherson and say thank you for being the principal, a great principal to the Warriors of Redwood Middle School. And since we are in a bilingual community, I will also be reading this in Spanish. Gracias, señora Christopherson, por ser una gran directora para los Warriors de RMS. Todos extrañaremos tenerla como nuestra nueva directora. 15 años es mucho tiempo a ser directora de una escuela. Ni siquiera he estado vivo por 15 años, pero esa es la cantidad de tiempo que ella ha pasado como directora. Así que solo quería agradecer a la señora Christopherson y decir gracias por ser una gran directora de los Warriors de Redwood Middle School. Once a warrior, always a warrior.
Buenas tardes a todos los presentes. Buenas tardes, Miss Christopherson.
Un momento, señora, antes que comienza, por favor.
Okay.
Quiero dirigir la interpretación. Un momento. Can you stop the timer, please? Do we have a translator online?
Oh, hi. Yes, I'm here.
Can we do
We can do consecutive.
can we do consecutive, please, for this
Sure.
speaker?
Sure.
What, can you put 6 minutes on? And le voy a pedir el favor que puede parar con cada uno o dos oraciones para la interpretación. ¿Ok? Ok. Comienza ahora. Gracias.
Buenas tardes a todos los presentes. Buenas tardes, Miss Christopherson.
Good evening to all and good evening to Miss Christopherson.
Mi nombre es Magdalena Mejía. Y hoy en este día,
Adelante, señora Mejía, siga.
hoy en este día estoy aquí para agradecer a la escuela Rivet Middle School y a la directora en especialmente, Christopherson.
My name is Magdalena Mejía. I'm here today to thank the River Middle School and especially her principal, Miss Christopherson.
Por el apoyo a nuestra escuela, a nuestra comunidad, a nuestros hijos, que es lo más valioso que tenemos. Muchas gracias. Quiero dar por todos los estudiantes, papás y los que no están presentes. Yo hago presencia de muchos que deberíamos de estar aquí presentes.
I want to thank you for your support to the school, the community, and the children who are the most valuable that we have. And really, this thank you goes from all the students and all the parents, even those that are not here today, and really many more should be here today.
Y especialmente por las clases de inglés que nos está apoyando en su escuela. Yo sé que se va, pero deja programas y deja apoyo para nuestra comunidad. Muchísimas gracias por todo esto.
And also I wanted to thank you especially for the English classes that you are providing and the support that you give us. I know that you're leaving, but the programming is going to stay, and I want to thank you for your support.
Yo soy una de las estudiantes de la Redwood Middle School y quiero dar gracias por estas clases. A mí en lo personal me han ayudado mucho.
I am a student at River Middle School, and I want to thank you for these classes. They really have helped me a lot to me personally.
Me han ayudado a ayudar a mis hijos a entender el idioma, me han ayudado a buscar mejor trabajo. Ahora estoy trabajando para aquí, para el distrito.
They have helped me to help my children. They have helped me to understand the language better. They have even helped me to get a better job. And currently I'm working for the district.
Y es un beneficio por estos programas que nos proporcionan. Gracias a todos. Nos abre puertas.
And these programs are a benefit to all of us. They really open doors for us.
Y gracias por estos servicios. Ojalá y nos sigan proviendo más a nuestra comunidad.
And thank you so much for all these services. I hope that you will keep providing even more to our community.
Y gracias a la directora especialmente que dedicó tiempo para este programa. Y también quiero agradecer a la maestra Norma que nos provee esta clase. Yo soy una de las estudiantes. Muchas gracias.
And
Buenas
thank
tardes
you.
para todos.
Thank you especially to the principal that provide this program to us. And I also want to thank my teacher, Norma, who really helped me. Thank you and good evening to all.
Thank you very much. And our last card of the evening, Ms. Ortiz.
Do you want to start the simultaneous interpretation again?
No, thank you.
Un momento, Norma.
Oh.
Yeah, we won't need it. We're not going to do consecutive. Please start simultaneous again. Okay.
Hello, good evening, board members and all of the Napa Valley Unified School District community. My name is Norma Ortiz, and I am a proud parent of now an 8th grader at Redwood Middle School, Norma Ortiz Barraza, a warrior. Here we have amazing students, educators, leaders, and advocates that care about the future of education. 3 minutes is not enough to express all of my gratitude to our principal, Marianne Christopherson, and of course, the combined effort of our 2 assistant principals, teachers, and staff. We did it, thanks to you. I want to acknowledge an amazing human being you are, Principal Christopherson. Your 15 years of hard work ethic, exemplary leadership, professionalism, energy, passion in education, kindness, dedication, wisdom, and love to the Redwood Middle School community. It has been an honor and pleasure working with you. Thank you for being who you are, inclusive and welcoming to all of the parents at Redwood Middle School, for respecting our opinions, our different personalities, and appreciating what we all bring. You have united us all. Site Council, Parent Faculty Club, ELAC, English Language Advisory Committee, and more. With your unique qualities, genuine spirit, where we continue to build community and engage to bring positive change in our community. You made no distinctions among us and provided us comfortable, inclusive spaces to participate. So thank you for your partnership and loyalty to the profession, as well as teaching our students right from wrong, helping them become who they are, successful within their capacities and abilities. I love how you always pay attention to details, support and advocate for all student voices, their choices and access to quality in education. Your leadership is helping form excellent warriors, even under the present pandemic circumstances and other, so they can reach their fullest potential and dreams of one day becoming doctors, attorneys, singers, social workers, first responders, firefighters, police officers, nurses, medical assistants, civil rights advocates, professors, and so forth. As parents, we value all the time you have invested in our children and wish the best in your new position as Director of Student Services. Thank you, and Mr. Hartnack, for providing the space to teach our English classes hosted by ELAC on Fridays from 5 to 6:30, where more than 25 adult learners not only learn, but also connect, feel a sense of belonging, empower, uplift others, an environment where everyone feels included, welcome, and appreciated. Thank you for being empathetic to the needs of others, as we all know how difficult it may be when an individual has language barriers, limitations, and difficulties in communicating in English with others. This can become very challenging. Both my daughter and I appreciate all those hours you took out of your time to be there in all important in-person events, just to mention some. My daughter, okay, thank you. Once a
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming to the podium. Trustee Water, do we have any public comment on non-agenda items received via email at publiccomment@nvusd.org?
We did not receive any public comments before 8 a.m. via email today.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Michaels, do you have any public comment via Zoom?
There is no public comment for non-agenda items via Zoom.
Thank you very much. Without our student board rep, we will move on to our Board of Education reports. Trustee Chu.
So like many of my fellow trustees, did the rounds of the graduation. So congratulations, class of 2022. And I also did various community engagements on a few of the agenda items we'll talk about later.
My report is just congratulations to the class of 2022 and just gratitude to having some students in the room expressing their public comments. So welcome and thank you for what you said.
Trustee Reiser.
I too attended many graduations, high school graduations, as well as the ACMS American Canyon Middle School promotion ceremony. And the highlight for me was a highlight of my life, getting to hand my daughter Kira her diploma at the Napa High graduation on Thursday night. Congratulations to the class of 2022.
Thank you very much. Trustee Water.
I went to 3 high school graduations. Congratulations to high school graduations. Congratulations to all the students. And I thought the speeches were really good this year. And I also went to 3 promotions, 1 middle school and 2 elementary schools. And I was invited to see Francisco Mendoza get the Kindness Award at Phillips School. His family invited me. And then last week I met with Principal Brian Gardner of Shearer School.
Thank you very much. Trustee Gracia.
Yes. So last week, as other trustees mentioned, I attended graduation for American Canyon, New Tech, Vintage, and Napa High Schools. I also attended the hearing for the first ever appeal under the new law with regard to charter schools. And then I also attended the annual priority setting meeting. That's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the students in the audience for their civic engagement. I too attended the graduations. I was in awe of how articulate our students were, the grace of their words, and the power of their messages. I too attended the special board meeting last evening, and we are now going to move on to our board representative reports. Special Education Community Advisory Committee,
We have not met,
City of American Canyon Liaison Representatives.
also have not met.
Thank you. City of Napa
We have not met.
and Town of Yountville.
We have not met.
Thank you very much. Superintendent.
Great. Good evening, NVUSD trustees and broader community. Tonight, my report is simply a message of gratitude. Thank you to everyone for their hard work in the 21-22 school year. What a year. We made it. I want to provide some data I received from our team earlier this week, just so we have a real understanding of the challenges we persisted through as an organization and community in the 21-22 school year. From July 1st to December 29th, we had 44 employee COVID-19 cases. From December 30th to January 11th, we had 50 employee COVID cases. But since January 11th, within the school district, we have had 545 employee cases. As far as students go, from August through December, we had 450 student cases. Between January and the end of school day, the last day, the end of the school year, the last day of school, we had nearly 2,907 student cases. Why do I share this data? Well, as you can imagine, these increasing numbers of COVID-19 related absences through the winter and spring and up until the end of the year on both the employee side and student side placed extraordinary pressures on our system, impacting school operations, classroom instruction, and student learning. It's amazing that we got through this. I want to congratulate everyone for their colossal efforts. Thank you to staff, parents, and students for getting through the tough moments and days and for creating consistency and deep care amidst what could have been complete chaos. To the trustees, thank you for another year of effective governance. I am also grateful for the consistency and deep care you have provided during a very turbulent year. After our annual priority setting workshop last night, coupled with knowing it's our last board meeting of this year, and we have an upcoming July recess, which is nice to point out. I'm so excited and enthusiastic about the meaningful work we have ahead of us for 22-23. You want to interject right now?
Before, yes.
Oh,
I
what-
wanna-
go ahead.
I
Well,
just wanted to go ahead, are you?
I was just going one last closing comment. With that being said, please enjoy the summer, rest up, relax, read, and please enjoy some downtime with family and friends. I look forward to seeing everyone in early August.
I apologize for that interruption. I did want to mention that it is with great enthusiasm that I announce our new student board representative, Samuel Gomez from Vintage High School, and our alternate, Madison Patch from New Tech High School. I want to wish them both congratulations, and we look forward to welcoming Samuel to the board in August.
Thank you. That is more what's on the horizon, right? In 22-23. So I don't see either of the students here. Mr. Michaels, is that correct?
Yes, I don't see them either.
Yeah, not present. Yeah.
Thank you.
So congratulations to those students. With that, I'm going to toss over to my assistant superintendents. We'll briefly get through the executive report. So we'll start with Assistant Superintendent Pat Andrew Jennings, who oversees instructional services.
I echo everything that Dr. Musetti shared around gratitude around our staff and performance and the parents that showed up and made sure we got through this very challenging year. But good evening, President Jankowicz, Board Trustees, Dr. Musetti, and the NVUSD community. Last week was an incredible week of celebrating students, families, and staff during the many promotions and graduations. Our student speakers shared powerful messages about mental health, identity, resilience, community, and much more, capturing their educational journey through NVUSD schools. Watching our high school graduates cross the stage to the cheers and smiles of their families was a reminder of the importance of our work. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Andrew Jennings. Next, we'll have Assistant Superintendent Ms. Dana Page, who oversees the Human Resources Division.
Good evening, President Jankowicz, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Musetti. I do also want to echo everybody's thanks for getting through this year, and those statistics really are startling and explains a lot of why we're all pretty tired around here. And I do want to acknowledge that in HR, July, it's not much of a recess. Things are heating up, and we are fast and furiously trying to fill our vacancies for the 22-23 school year. And I want to sincerely thank my team for all their hard work in those efforts. We will be presenting later tonight on our progress in year one of diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. So I'll just leave it at that and see you later during our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Next, we'll have Assistant Superintendent Mike Pearson, who oversees operational services.
Good evening, President Jankowicz, NVUSD Board of Education trustees, Dr. Musetti, and members of the NVUSD community. I am under the weather, but to date, I'm not part of those statistics yet for the COVID, just so you all know. But as a precaution, I am from home tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you with an update for operational services. Last week, the maintenance and operations team did a phenomenal job setting up, overseeing, and cleaning up for each of the 6 graduations to celebrate the class of 2022. Specifically, Director of Operations Gloria Aguirre and Director of Maintenance and Grounds Albert D'Souza played a vital role at each graduation. And additionally, a few classified members provided strong leadership with implementing the details for each ceremony. Specifically, Laura Heishu ensured the celebrations in Napa ran smoothly. Tico Laura oversaw the American Canyon High School graduation ceremony. And lastly, Hector Gallegos coordinated the parking at all venues. And again, I want to thank all the maintenance and operations employees for their service and dedication to making a memorable time for the class of 2022. There are also 2 businesses I'd like to mention in regards to graduation. NVUSD is fortunate to have a strong partnership with Mid-City Nursery in American Canyon, which is owned by John Mikulasik, and Van Winden's Landscaping. This is not the nursery, this is Van Winden's Landscaping in Napa, which is owned by Jim Van Winden. Both businesses were extremely generous, allowing NVUSD to use live plants for all the ceremonies. So thanks again to Mid-City Nursery and Van Winden's Landscaping for your generosity. In food service, as a reminder to the community of Napa and American Canyon, NVUSD Food Service will be offering free meals for all youth under the age of 18 weekdays from July 20th. So we started earlier this week through July 28th, with the exception of July 4th, which is a holiday. Meals will include a local milk, seasonal fruit and vegetables, and a cold entree. Students attending one of the many NVUSD programs are not eligible, since students attending a summer program will be fed at the site he or she is attending, but other students are eligible for these free meals. In Napa, the food service will be distributed at Napa High School off of Kennedy Way, which is the road in between the campus. Please enter Kennedy Way off of Park Avenue. And in American Canyon, Canyon Oaks Elementary School will serve as the distribution location, which will happen behind the school on White Oak Drive. And again, the distribution times are from 12 to 12:30 p.m. Daily. Again, I want to recognize food service for their commitment and dedication and energy ever since this thing started back in March of 2020. And lastly, due to the number of items from school planning and construction department, there will be no facility volunteer program report tonight. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. And last, surely not least, we have Mr. Rob Manguala, who oversees the Business Services Division.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to update the board and the community. I'd like to thank the Executive Director of Fiscal, Jenna Burrows, for all of her work on the 2022-23 budget that you will vote on later tonight. Also, the state budget will be finalized next week. The trailer bill for education, however, will not likely be finalized until the legislator comes back from summer break. So we will not see details of what the education budget looks like until early August. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Manguala. That concludes staff reports for the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Musetti. We're moving on to the consent agenda. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on a roll call vote, unless discussion of item or items is requested by the board member or board members.
So I would like to pull item H4D and then have some quick discussion before voting on the remainder, but I'll move to approve the rest.
Okay, first by trustee Gracia,
I'll second.
second by trustee Chu, all in favor?
Wait, quick
No.
discussion.
Oh, you want to do that for, I was going to do the, okay, we can do it that way.
So I just wanted to highlight in this area between H6A and H6E, we have some change orders that are very unusual. They are change orders that are actually saving us money instead of spending extra money. Who knew that was even possible? We have 5 contracts where we've actually saved money, and I'd like to see if we can have this trend continue. Good job.
Can I jump in there really quickly regarding a
may.
consent before you take a vote? Assistant Superintendent Pat Andrew Jennings, you were going to do a quick clarification on item H4G regarding Seesaw. It was written up in the agenda as a tool for distance learning, which we are no longer implementing. Could you please just quickly explain to the board the purpose of Seesaw and why it's coming forward in consent as a renewal?
Thank you, Dr. Musetti. Yes, originally Seesaw was brought into the district to support our distance learning efforts. But since then, it has continued to be a tool for our elementary students in TK3 as a portfolio, a place to exchange lessons. It's not used for distance learning, but it is used by teachers at the elementary level. So thank you for the opportunity to clarify.
Okay.
We appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to approve the balance of the consent agenda minus H4D. May I get a motion?
You got it.
First, okay, it was first by trustee, second by trustee Chu. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Trustee Gracia.
Yeah, so H4D is about our renewal of Avid. I'm less sold on Avid at the elementary level and was hoping that we could consider the possibility of transitioning some of our elementary schools out of Avid and maybe towards an actual academic program like STEAM or IB. I do fully support Avid, of course, at the secondary level. The value there is much higher than what I've seen at elementary. So that would sort of be something that I'd encourage us to at least look into for the future. But otherwise, I will move to support this item.
Okay, let's take a motion for approval of the balance of the consent agenda H4D. May I get a motion?
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia.
Second.
Second by trustee Chu. Vera, may I please get a roll call vote?
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Ricer,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
We are now moving to J1A as per the amended agenda. And one moment, please.
President Jankowicz, I would like to make a statement to introduce actually both items, J1A and J1B. I'll be addressing them here simultaneously. So here, staff is recommending to the school board this evening to form 2 school facilities improvement districts, which we refer to via the acronym SFID. SFID 1 for the Napa area and SFID for American Canyon. As a district, we've been very transparent about our school facility needs. Over the last 6 years, since 2016, Measure H was successful in making good progress across many fronts, including 4 new schools, massive renovations at several other schools, security upgrades, and technology access, which was crucial during the pandemic. But we still have significant basic facilities needs to ensure our schools are warm, safe, and dry, and provide optimal learning environments for students. We have also communicated about the fact that the state of California does not provide a revenue stream for facilities improvements. Local school boards, superintendents, and their teams are expected to solve this challenge at the local level through local tax measures known as school bonds. After conducting extensive research via 2 polls, meetings with a few hundred stakeholders, collaborating closely with the Napa County Taxpayers Association, and communicating with the community directly via some letters, we've decided to adopt the strategy of establishing 2 unique school facility improvement districts, again, 1 in Napa and 1 in American Canyon. Both communities in our school district are incredibly supportive of public education. We also know that each community has very unique facilities needs, so we need to differentiate based on those needs. We understand that asking for public support is a very big decision and one that we do not take lightly. Therefore, after analyzing our facilities assessment and attaining lots of community feedback across the 2 cities, my staff and I this evening are recommending this new innovative approach. We recommend that you approve the establishment of the 2 SFIDs, 1 in Napa for Napa voters and 1 in American Canyon for the American Canyon voters. If passed, bond dollars, future potential bond dollars by law could only be used for schools in that respective city. We think this plan makes a lot of sense. American Canyon schools have different needs than the schools in Napa. Keeping bond dollars at the most local level so that the tax revenue generated by the local taxpayers goes to the schools in their local community, again, we believe makes good sense. We look forward to engaging with the community and communicating this message in further detail if the board approves the establishment of the 2 school facilities improvements districts. 2 school facilities improvement districts this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Massetti. J1A, American Canyon School Facilities Improvement District, SFID 2, public hearing and adoption of resolution 22-44 of formation for SFID 2. The public hearing is now open and we are going to welcome public comment. Mr. Jack Gray, please address the podium. Welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jack Gray. I'm a founding member, past president, current director of the Napa County Taxpayers Association. We formed this association in 2010. Interestingly enough, we've generally not endorsed a tax measure, including bond measures in the past. We have defeated a lot of measures. I can account for over $1 billion in 12 years since this organization was formed that we have saved the taxpayers of Napa County. And we had, as a matter of fact, met with the predecessor, Dr. Sweeney in Napa Valley Unified School District in the past. After Dr. Musetti took over, there was an amazing difference. She has continued to meet with our organization, but the important part is she's fixed some significant problems, including some fiscal problems that were associated with Napa Valley Unified. We had recommended early on and strongly support the splitting of the district. And a lot of that goes because the balance of the Napa County has principally paid more of the funds for the American Canyon School District in those 10 years, 12 years of our organization than American Canyon has. And this, we feel, brings it back to the home base if the district is split as has been recommended here. Now, I strongly feel also that we have got a winner with Dr. Musetti. And I'm interested in keeping her here and supporting her. And one of these things is the split of the district, which we recommended early on. And so I'm here to say, you've got a winner here. We need to support her in the future. We need to support her on this split of the district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gray. Gail Young.
Good evening. NVEA believes in advocating for our teachers and our students to work and learn in safe, warm, and dry facilities. The state of California does not provide funds to make this happen. The state leaves it to local areas to provide for their children. Personally, as a homeowner, I currently pay towards previous bonds, but I can see those within my community. I can see the schools that are in American Canyon. I can see the schools that were here. I can see the work that's been done to make sure that our buildings, structures were fixed after our earthquakes happened. I've seen new gyms. I've seen awnings. I've seen a lot of things happen. But we have schools that are currently, and buildings, many of them that are currently older than I am. And guys, I'm old. So it is imperative that we look at something to help fix that. And the state's not coming through for us. So we as a community need to make sure that we come through for our children. A new bond would be well worth the cost to provide the best environment for the children in our community. We want them safe, we want them warm, we want them dry, and we want them well educated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Tanya, now I'm going to put Mayapen, Mahapen.
Thank you, Napa Valley Unified School District Board of Trustees and Dr. Musetti for this time and for all the attendees of this board meeting here and virtual. I was just addressing this bond measure. I mean, we all have the common goal to provide the children of Napa Valley quality education. However, it is very difficult to support the Napa Valley Unified School District when excellent school programs have been closed, such as River Middle, Yountville, Mount George. I know that you guys needed to make cuts. However, I want to say that the residents of Napa Valley are still a little bitter about this. So to present a new bond measure that's going to cost $60,000 to $80,000, that's the quote from John Tudor about putting another measure on, is I would like the Board of Trustees to consider this. I did another poll. I don't know which about the poll because I did receive a telephone poll that I said I was not supporting a new bond measure because I am part of the Napa Valley Education Foundation because I do donate to that. So I did receive that. And I just did a quick poll today, 62 votes, 87% said they would not support it. This was on Nextdoor. So I would like you guys just to consider just maybe asking money in a couple years when you guys can be a little bit more transparent where the money is going. I mean, there was the 20 million that you guys got in COVID relief. You have properties from Yountville, Harvest, Stonebridge. Has there even been, like I had asked at the last board meeting about a year ago when you guys were considering closing River, about how many Napa Valley children are going to private schools and why are they leaving? Because I would have loved that on the phone survey because my daughter goes to private school. I mean, I would have loved to maybe put her in River and I would, consider putting her in one of the public high schools. So, I mean, these things need to be looked at. The other thing is, how much money did you guys spend on closing the River Middle School and legal fees with this McCamus petition? I'd like to see some of these numbers. I'm sure the community would like to see some of these transparent information. The other last thing is, well, there's two more things. What is the plan for the Napa Valley Unified School District in 2030, year 2030? What other schools? I know we need to maybe condense and close some schools, but it would be nice to know ahead of time. So we're not paying money for these bond measures for programs and schools that are being closed. I heard that, I don't know, I hope you guys can answer this, but I heard that New Tech High, they closed the computer science classes, which it's New Tech High. I don't know. I hope someone can answer that question. But we would like to know where our money is going before we spend or vote for another bond measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Furlong?
I think you're jumping the gun on asking for more money. Prop 19, I'm sure you're familiar with, cut the knees off most people trying to transfer parent to child other than their personal residence. If you have more than one kid, it's been my experience, generally they were in past law, you would rent out the property and split the money with the kids. Right now, most estates do not have enough money for the other siblings to buy one out. So one example in a house in our neighborhood, the tax right now is going to go from 2,500 to 10,000, just one house. And this is just, Prop 19 is just coming into effect now, where it's hurting people. And you're going to reap the benefits of millions of dollars. And if I read the recent article, I think the assessment in Napa is going up $1 billion over last year in tax assessment. We don't know where you think, Melrose, if my understanding is only a 50% vote will get the bond passed. Where are the
55.
people? Pardon me?
55.
Okay, 55. Okay, it's less than 2/3. Okay, where do you think that the people that aren't public employees, and looking at your salaries, I understand why it doesn't bother you. But if you're on Social Security, the maximum, maximum Social Security is about 50,000, but the average Social Security is about 18,000. So with the Biden inflation, where are people going to get the money? If you look at just people getting in your field, 6% increase on 300,000, that's 18,000. That's more than the average person gets all year on Social Security. I think you guys are looking at a different world, and general public doesn't have the excess funds you guys may have. And I really think you really take a hard look and back off and give it a year or two. Right now, if you have rental properties, all those get reassessed. So if somebody dies, it's all going to reassess. And so I'd say within 5 years, you guys are probably looking at probably $1 billion or more in income just from the property transfers. Where are you guys? Are you guys getting mitigation fees for impact for all the hotels? I'm not hotels, but all the apartments that are getting built?
We don't go back and forth during public comment, so
Okay,
we'll
well,
note
I'm
your
asking you to
questions.
Look at that. Also, if my understanding is right, the junior college wants $85 billion in a bond to build housing for students. I'd love a mansion, but you got to get the money from somebody. And the general public doesn't have the excess funds you guys think they do. And I know people that are struggling now. And if you add another tax, and by the way, the Mello-Roos tax is not a deductible tax, it's a fee. So anybody that itemizes is up the creek. They won't benefit from it. I just really recommend you take a hard look at what impact you're having on the public.
We have one more speaker, Ms. Ortiz.
Just having attended several of our meetings in and out of our district, several parents, including myself, are in favor of these the facilities bond, because it is in the best interest of our students. Several of our schools need major improvements, including Redwood Middle School. So I highly suggest that you guys, that our board really steps up and support this measure. And I appreciate the comments that are here, but again, we are parents and have our students in our education system, and they need these types of supports. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Norma. That's it for the boardroom. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
We do. First speaker is Sylvia Regalado Zeklad. Go ahead, please.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Musetti and members of the Board of Trustees with NVUSD. My name is Sylvia Regalado Zeklad, and this evening I would like to encourage the board and residents in American Canyon to support this proposal for a bond specific to American Canyon schools. While we are one district, I feel a separate bond gives the greatest flexibility to address the unique needs in our local schools. Allowing these bond dollars to stay in American Canyon schools will allow our local schools to be modernized, maintained, and enhanced for all of our school-age children. As a taxpayer and a parent of school-age children in American Canyon, I have seen firsthand the basic upkeep and upgrade needs within our local school campuses. This proposal also keeps in the spirit of ensuring that taxpayer dollars and taxpayers see the fruits of their investment locally. As a homeowner, I'm sure we can all rally behind stronger schools and communities. Please vote to approve this separate bond for our local schools and our children. Thank you so much for your time and continued commitment to our schools, to our students in our district. Thank you.
Mr. Michaels, do we have any additional public comment?
Yes, we do. Our next speaker is Heidi Zippe. Go ahead, please.
Hello, school board members and Dr. Rossetti and staff. My name is Heidi Zippe. I'm a parent of American Canyon, 2 American Canyon students that have come all the way through our schools in American Canyon, one from kindergarten to senior and one who is a rising sophomore. I just wanted to take a moment and let you know how fully I support this proposal that Dr. Musetti and her team have put forward to separate the facility into 2 districts within the Napa Valley Unified School District. I think this is a great idea. I really think that American Canyon families are ready to get behind further improvement of our schools. We understand the difficult financial situation that schools are in because the state of California does not provide enough resources to keep our schools safe, to keep the roofs fixed, to provide a coat of paint, to fix our asphalt. All that kind of stuff is necessary for schools to be in great shape and for our kids to be successful. This proposal, I think, is a great solution to a long problem of how are we going to pay for things. I think that American Canyon parents and Napa parents are ready to support their local schools with a little bit of an extra throwdown of money. We can do it. We can support the schools, and we trust you to do the right thing with the money that comes through in order to make the schools safer and stronger for our kids. So again, totally in support, and I hope that you will be too. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your public comment. Mr. Michaels, do we have any additional public comment?
There's no further public comment for this item.
Thank you very much.
I do, President Jankowicz, before you go to the board for any discussion, there are a couple of things that I'd like to clarify. There have been some statements, and I've gotten this in response to some of the communication that I've sent out to the community around the one-time COVID dollars. I think they were named this evening in public comment. I need the public to understand that the COVID dollars that have been distributed across California, you're going to hear that there's a historical budget and revenues coming towards California public schools. But it's important for the public to understand that this infusion of revenue are predominantly one-time monies that are highly restricted dollars. So COVID dollars cannot be used for capital improvements. The ELOP dollars, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program dollars, for example, are millions of dollars coming towards California public schools, but are restricted categorical funds that can only fund the particular programs that the governor has tagged those dollars for. So as you hear in the media about this infusion of revenue, I think it's really important for the community to, read and seek information. We're preparing some informational pieces on our website because we're just coming to learn that, the media statements are causing a lot of confusion and creating a misperception that California schools are actually overfunded when they continue to be one of the most underfunded statewide school systems in our country. So low per pupil spending for districts that have the revenue model that we have, paired with not having a revenue stream that's intended to address the facilities needs, of which we have, quite a bit. Almost, it's about 500 million. So again, this first part for J1A and J1B is about the school board really taking action around this innovative strategy. We understand the potential hesitation around further tax, but I think our team has shown a tremendous amount of fiscal stewardship. We have turned the district around financially and stabilized it. And so we want to continue to think about strategies that are going to position the district for success. And we believe the two SFIDs are that strategy. We appreciate the support of the Napa County Taxpayers Association. Mr. Jack Gray, I appreciate your kind words this evening. And I want to thank them because they talked to us a lot about the importance of revenues staying at the most local level. So this is a strategy in response to those ideas that we've been discussing with them over the course of the last couple of years.
Thank you for your comment, Dr. Musetti. I'm going to close the public hearing. We're going to take action on J1A.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Vera, it's a roll call vote.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. J1B is the Napa Area School Facilities Improvement District, SFID 1, public hearing and adoption of Resolution 22-43 of formation for SFID 1. We are going to open the public hearing. Do I have any additional public comment in the room? Mr. Michaels, do I have any additional public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. I'm going to close the public hearing.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Vera, may I please get a roll call vote?
Yes, trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. American Canyon School Facilities Improvement District, SFID 2, Resolution 22-45, calling for election.
President
Oh, it's
Jankowicz,
not a- yes, it's not a public hearing. so
not a
it's
public
just
hearing. Yeah,
action item.
correct. It's just an action item. And I'd like to make a statement to
Please.
introduce this item. So again, I'd like to, this statement is related to both items J1C and J1D. As the agenda demonstrates, these two items are calling for two distinct bond elections, one for the school facilities improvement district in the Napa area, and one for the school facilities improvement district in American Canyon. The resolutions include exhibits that present the proposed ballot language, the proposed project list, which includes our project priority categories and priority commitments. In addition, we have included a conditional project list that the district needs to include just in case we are in a position where we need to respond to unanticipated circumstances. And this is clearly labeled in the exhibits included in the resolution and will be made very clear to the taxpayer via the voter pamphlet. You will also see that the amounts for each proposed potential school bond measure are the following: $200 million for the Napa area and $25 million for American Canyon. Based on our polling data that revealed tax sensitivity in our community, we are recommending the approval of two more modest bond measures than what has been pursued by the district in the past. Each bond will have the same tax rate in American Canyon and in the Napa area. Costing approximately $86 a year for the average homeowner, approximately, again, for the average homeowner, about $7 a month. Again, these recommendations to pursue bond measures at the lower tax rate of what would translate to be $19 per $100,000 of assessed home value, and to create two separate bond measures for each of the areas of the school district are based on two community surveys that we conducted where hundreds of likely voters were polled and dozens of meetings with staff, parents, and community members in both Napa and American Canyon. With that in mind, staff asked the trustees to consider the approval of these two resolutions. I like to just say what Assistant Superintendent Mike Pearson said to the hundreds of people he and I met. A yes on these resolutions is a yes for our children in the Napa Valley Unified School District community.
Thank you, Dr. Massetti. I too have a comment. The importance of the next two resolutions is the public accountability factor. As Dr. Massetti stated in her comments, there were very specific legal and ed code requirements, number 15320 through number 15327 in the drafting of these resolutions. The resolutions outline how the funds will be allocated, provide project delineation, and outline projects that are available for to use in case of unforeseen circumstances. This is a transparent list that creates accountability in the relationship between the school district and our community. NVUSD wants to build a sense of joint ownership and community focus on children's education. If we, as a community, want to realize a vision of public accountability, then we all need to believe in what really constitutes public community participation in education. We understand that public accountability is a valued tool to generate strong community investment in our schools, and it is a stepping stone to the type of civic capacity that is the key to the betterment of education in the Napa Valley. Trustee Gracia?
I was just going to move to approve.
Okay. Trustee Gracia, first by Trustee Gracia, second by
Second.
Trustee Chu. Vera, it is a roll call vote.
Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. J1D, Napa Area School Facilities Improvement District, SFID 1, Resolution 22-46, calling for the election.
Move to approve.
First by Trustee Gracia
Second.
and second by Trustee Chu. Vera, may we please? Is there public comment on this item? And Mr. Michaels, do we have any additional public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
And Vera, may I please get a roll call vote?
Yes, Trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
Trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. We are going to now go back to the original agenda and move to presentations and discussion items. And if anybody, I will very politely let you guys know, this is the part of the agenda that if you would like to depart, we completely understand as we move into all the action items and presentations. Number 1, business services, spring 2022 STAR assessment data.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, good evening. Welcome, Mr. Director Avid.
Let me just share my screen. All right, good evening, President Jankowicz, Trustee Dr. Musetti. This evening, I will provide of our STAR assessments data for the spring of 2022. And after I present the data, my colleagues from Instructional Services will speak applications of the data on their division's work. District work around assessments falls under our strategic plan goal number 1, student learning, achievement, and access. And specifically, it falls under the College and Career Readiness Initiative and the tactic describing the assessment system.
Dr. Avid, we're getting a lot of background noise. I just wanted to let you know as you proceed.
Let me try putting some earbuds. If that makes it clearer. Does that make it clear?
That's better. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely, no problem. Additionally, the STAR assessments provide a key data point in support of annual board priority number 2, the development of multi-tiered system of support, and annual board priority number 3, the TK-12 mathematics program alignments. Before we look at the data, I'd like to shine a light on the context in which STAR assessments this year. Students return to school full-time and in person this school year after over a year of virtual and hybrid, and students are continuing to fill the gaps from their unfinished learning. The pandemic still continues, and so we see an increase in both student and teacher absences. Typically, the student attendance rate is about 95%. This year, it dropped down to 91%. A number of teacher absences also impacted our ability to provide many tier 2 interventions to students. As a reminder, the STAR assessments are screeners that we administer to students times per year and measure students' literacy and math skills. This is our second year utilizing STAR assessments and the first year that we've given them when students have been at school full time and in person. Students in grades 3 through 12 take the STAR reading test. Students in kindergarten through 2nd grade take the STAR early literacy test until their reading abilities develop enough that they can be reliably assessed with STAR reading. And typically this transition happens in grade 2. Students in grades 1 through 12 take the STAR math test. Before we dive into the data, I'd like to take a moment to remind the board and community about some key data points that we've looked at in the past and we'll look at again this evening. First, the scaled score. Students who take a STAR assessment are given a scaled score based on the number of questions answered and the difficulty of those questions, and allows us to compare student progress over time and across grade levels. Next, we have the percentile rank. Students are given a percentile rank indicating the percentage of other students nationally who obtain scores equal to or lower than that of a particular student. For example, a student in the 35th percentile in STAR reading performed better than 35% of students nationally in the same grade level as that student who took the assessment at that same time of year. Renaissance categorizes students based on their percentile rank. Students who score better than 5% of students nationally in their grade level at that same time of year are considered at or above benchmark. There are 4 total categories ranging from at or above benchmark all the way to those in need of urgent intervention who are scoring below the 10th percentile rank. It is important to remember that students are expected to earn a higher and higher scaled score as they progress their learning. For example, an 8th STAR math test in the fall needs a scale score of 1078 at or above benchmark, and that minimum scaled score increases over time. And by the time that 8th grader takes the test in the spring, they will need a scaled score of 1094. In a moment, I will share results of the assessments. As we were looking at the results by grade level, we noticed that the percentages of students scoring at or above benchmark increased significantly from the fall to the winter, and then that percentage held steady or dropped slightly from the winter to the spring. We wondered if this was typical of students taking assessments beyond our district, so we investigated further. On the slide, you can see state and national results. You can see the state and national results for STAR Early Literacy, STAR Reading for the 2020-2021 school year. We can see that at the state level, the percent of students at or above benchmark went from 40% in the fall to 51% in the winter and maintained that percentage in the spring. At the national, we saw the same pattern, 51% at or above benchmark in the fall to 56% at or above benchmark in the winter and spring. State and national are consistent with some of what we're seeing across the district. And here we see the data for STAR Math. At the state level, we see an increase from fall to winter with a decrease in spring to the fall levels. At the national level, we see an increase from fall to the winter with a slight decrease in the spring. I'd also like to take a moment to talk about student growth from the fall to the spring. Another data point provided by Renaissance is the student growth percentile, or SGP. As a reminder, the SGP indicates the percentage of students nationally at the same grade level and with a similar score as a particular student who grew less than that student over a defined period of time. For example, a student with an SGP of 60 from fall to spring grew better than 60% of students nationally who had a similar score as that student in the fall. Students with an SGP between 35 and 65 are making typical growth, while those with an SGP below 5 are making low growth, and those with an SGP above 65 are making high growth. I want to emphasize that growth is not the same as proficiency. Students who are making typical growth may or may not be at or above benchmark. Overall, just under 2/3 of our made typical or high growth from the fall to the spring in both literacy and math when compared to their peers across the nation. This is similar to what we saw back in January after the winter screening window. What you see on this and the following slides is our spring 2022 data compared to the fall 2021 and winter 2022 data. The number represents the percent of students who are considered at above benchmark or in the 40th percentile. Or here we have our early literacy comparison for our kindergarten students. As you may recall from previous presentations, graders take the STAR Early Literacy or STAR Reading tests depending on their skill level. When looking at spring 2022 data, we also saw a number of first graders shifting from STAR Early Literacy to STAR Reading. Because of the two different tests at these grade levels, it is difficult to compare growth over time. And so instead, I share with you the number of students taking each test for each screening window for the grade levels. By the end of first grade, 224 students took the STAR Reading test, while 835 were still taking STAR Early Literacy. And by the end of second grade, 861 students were taking STAR Reading, while 233 took STAR Early Literacy. Here are the proficiency rates for STAR Reading at the elementary level. You can see that there was a significant increase in students at or above benchmark from fall to winter, and that number held steady from winter to spring. Again, remember that the minimum scaled score needed to score at or above benchmark increases over time. So the students scoring at or above benchmark from winter to spring are maintaining their progress. These are the proficiency rates for STAR Reading at the middle school level. From fall to winter, we see an increase in the percentage of students scoring at or above benchmark, increase from winter to spring. And here are the rates for high school. At ninth grade, we see a similar pattern to middle school where there increase followed by a slight decrease. 10th grade shows a slight increase from fall to winter that is sustained through the spring. And at 11th and 12th decreases from winter to spring. We now switch to STAR Math. At the elementary level, we see a similar pattern to what we saw with STAR. There was a significant increase of students scoring at or above benchmark from fall to winter, and that number was mostly sustained through the spring. And at some grade levels, we see an increase. Here are the percentages for middle school. 6th grade shows an increase over time, while 7th and 8th grade shows an increase fall to winter with a slight decrease in the spring. And here's the high school data. Ninth grade shows an increase over time. 10th grade shows a slight increase from fall to winter, which is sustained, and 12th grade show a decrease over the course of the year. Here we have the percentage of students benchmark by subgroup from the fall, winter, and spring. And all of our subgroups generally follow the pattern of increasing the percentage of students at or above benchmark from fall to winter, and then holding steady in the spring. As I've done in the past, I'd like to remind the board and community that just because a student is considered at or above benchmark based on national norms, that it does not necessarily mean the student is proficient based on state standards. This chart compares the percentage of students who are nationally at or above benchmark in STAR to the percent of students who have met or exceeded standard state benchmarks, which are designed to predict performance on the CASP. Later this fall, when spring 2022 CASP data is released, we look forward to comparing the results to the STAR state benchmark data. And here we have similar data for the STAR math test. And with that, I will pass it to our instructional services directors to speak to the implications of this data on their divisions.
Thank you very much. Director Aboud, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present. Next slide, please. I'm going to present on some of the elementary implications, beginning with elementary reading and literacy. The instructional division is pleased to celebrate with teachers and principals the gains in early literacy over the course of this past year. Building a strong foundation in early literacy has been a priority, and given the challenges presented by online learning for many students last year and the continued interruptions the pandemic has caused this year. Both teachers and principals expressed the need for a more effective phonics program at the end of last year. There were gaps in the previous program that were filled by the benchmark phonics program implemented this year. All teachers using the program were provided training, and the feedback from both teachers and principals has been positive. K2 teachers were also provided with improved diagnostic tools this year, those being the ESGI and key phonics assessments. Teachers were able to use this data from these assessments to guide instruction and planning and student grouping for intervention and acceleration. Teachers are developing a deeper understanding of the science of reading through professional learning and application. This year, 48 teachers participated in communities of practice and applied their learning in the classroom, trying out agreed upon strategies to provide targeted classroom level intervention. The results have been very positive, with one teacher reporting more growth than she has seen in years, and another teacher calling that experience game-changing. So based on this success, we will expand the science of reading professional development into next year. We are excited that our new science adoption will be a valuable resource for teaching literacy in the context of science. Along with our secondary partners, we are looking forward to implementing key elements of the soon-to-be completed multilingual learner master plan, including strengthening designated English language development time and structuring quality student interactions throughout the day. The district writing assessment will provide teachers with an opportunity to measure student progress on writing standards in alignment with the elementary progress report. Next slide, please. Thank you. So given our district-wide focus on improving math outcomes this year, the NVUSD elementary team has spent considerable time and effort strengthening the implementation of our core math program, Bridges, specifically the component of Bridges called Number Corner, which is the skill building program within Bridges that provides daily practice to students as they revisit concepts that have previously been taught in order to solidify their learning. Teachers have been provided with ongoing expert coaching, and principals have used a common observation protocol as a tool for providing feedback to teachers and deepening their ability to lead math instruction. Data cycles and site-level PLC work has focused on math improvement. Assessments in math are aligned to the priority standards and proficiency scales, allowing teachers to more effectively use the new progress report as a tool for providing feedback to parents. We are working this summer to make this alignment as clear in ELA as it is in math. There is more work to be done in ELA as we build on the success of the math alignment. Next year, we will continue strengthening Number Corner implementation and leverage another component of Bridges, workplaces, as a time when teachers can provide small group instruction. Workplaces is the time when students play math games that give them an opportunity to both develop math fluency and collaboratively practice the math concepts they are learning. During this time, teachers are able to work with smaller groups of students to address specific learning needs. Though there may still be significant challenges accessing substitute teachers next year, we are committed to finding ways for teachers and principals to visit one another's schools and observe teachers teaching and learning. This year, we accomplished this by recording exemplar lessons for use in coaching, and we will continue to use those, but we have had success in the past prior to the pandemic in providing opportunities for teams to visit each other's schools to learn from one another. As this focus work unfolds, we expect to see the gap between grade level proficiency levels continue to decrease. For example, this year, 61% of fourth grade students are ending the year meeting proficiency expectations in math. And the goal will be to maintain and increase the number of students attaining proficiency as they complete fifth grade. Our goal is always to have students poised for success in middle school. I will now pass to Director Reddy, who will share information about the work at the secondary level.
Thank you. And thank you, Director Manning. Good evening, Board of Education, President Jankowicz, Dr. Massetti, and the NVUSD community. I appreciate the opportunity to publicly reflect on these scores and look to how we will respond in the coming school year. So over the past year, the secondary team has focused on building a strong foundation in math. In reflecting on both our reading and our math data points, it is clear that we are ready and need to focus our attention on both math and reading as we look to 22-23. ELA and math are now aligned. They have identified clear parity standards and proficiency scales that build clarity and coherence across our system. With our shift, our focus to using these tools will be on the instructional practices in both English and math to meet our students' needs and help them grow in both their reading and math scores. Next slide, please. So our shift to instructional practices, we will focus on a few key areas, and you will see some consistencies between K-5 and 6-12. As a part of the draft multilingual learner master plan that will be presented later in August, we'll focus on high quality interactions in our classes. District and site leaders will monitor the implementation of high quality interactions through classroom observations and learning walks, and we're looking to establish a consistent implementation tool for this practice. English has parity standards and proficiency scales that address reading, writing, oral communication, and language. Site leaders and teachers will learn how to use these tools in the classroom so that students and staff build clarity. They can give and receive feedback in relationship to those success indicators, and they can monitor their progress. Professional learning will be provided focused on reading to learn and writing to learn strategies for all content areas. And similar to K-5, we will explore a district-wide writing assessment for our 6-12 students with hopes of implementing in 2023-24. The priority standards call for a variety of texts and genres. Priority reading standards call for both fiction and nonfiction of both short and long text. As we prepare students for the world of college and career, they need support with all forms of reading and writing. For example, argumentative, informative, and narrative. The use of core novels within Tier 1 instruction and independent reading of full text is important to their development of reading skills and content. Middle school has adopted a core curriculum that addresses the priority standards. The last pilot and adoption of high school materials occurred in 2004. Moving forward with a pilot and potential adoption of ELA curricular resources is a key priority that will provide a variety of texts and tools to complement our novels and support our students with all of the priority standards in the domains of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Additionally, it's important to note that these scores highlight the need for supporting our students with reading to learn across all content areas. With the newly adopted science curriculum and the pilot adoption of social science curriculum this fall, we have the opportunity to provide real and relevant reading and writing to learn professional development across our content areas. Next slide, please. In addition to the aforementioned strategies, we know that the key principles of literacy development is the amount of words read, accessible text, effective reading instruction, support, assessment and feedback, meaning making, and explicit teaching of reading skills. We feel that the approaches outlined in the previous slide address some of the key principles, and yet the frequency and amount is an area that needs further development. The National Council of Teachers of English defines independent reading as a routine, protected instructional practice that occurs across all grade levels. We plan to increase circulation in novels through independent reading within the school day. Our goal is to move toward a model of classroom libraries and independent reading in all ELA classes. These strategies that you see listed on the slide are a first step in that implementation. Accelerated Reader allows middle school students to choose texts that are accessible and of interest. Students can set goals, monitor their progress, and assess their comprehension. This can be supported through both Tier 1 classroom practices and flex time, which is at all middle schools next year. Middle school will launch book clubs in the fall during flex times as well. It will be embedded in the school day. To begin, these clubs will be for our accelerated students to meet their needs and be responsive to their needs during flex time. The books were selected from the Project Lit book list, which was recommended to staff and adopted by the Board of Education. And as we implement this model at every middle school, it will allow us to assess books that could potentially be placed as classroom libraries. Additionally, we moved the virtual author series that was started during the pandemic into the school day at the secondary level this year. Of the authors that we had, 2 authors were hosted by a middle school and a high school class during the day, and we saw increased attendance, viewing, and readership of those novels. Classes of students led the discussions and connected personally with the authors. The goal would be for these middle level book clubs to host our authors and record for all NVUSD staff and students to access. For high school, we continue to embed this practice through core classes and explore the use of this similar strategy during response to intervention time, which is embedded in high schools at varying levels throughout their school days. Next slide, please. As we transition to math, you'll notice that math and English are now on parallel tracks. We will support forward progress of both trains through similar approaches to professional learning, coaching, and progress monitoring of instructional practices. But first, we must pause to celebrate the staff who have built a strong foundation in a truly unique year of education. As Director Manning mentioned, the context in which we've done this work without subs has taxed our staff, and they have risen to this occasion. And I have to give specific thanks to academic specialist Kendra Parsons for her incredible work in this. The district leadership, the site leadership, and the math teachers have collaborated to articulate secondary math pathways in the fall, which are being implemented next year. Priority standards, proficiency scales, academic vocabulary that's embedded into these proficiency scales, and high quality assessments. We focused on key transition areas in 6th and 9th grade and saw 8% growth in these grade levels. We built clarity, coherence, and alignment in what we teach, and now we look forward to strengthening how we teach in the coming year. I want to thank the staff. Our focus next year will be on supporting staff in the classroom. The key priorities that will do that is site leaders and teachers will learn how to now use these tools with the priority standards and proficiency skills within the classroom with students to help build clarity, give and receive feedback in relationship to those success indicators, and then monitor their progress. We'll implement a clearly articulated math intervention within the classroom and through flex periods, which you'll hear more about shortly from Director Knox. We'll continue to focus on that vertical alignment with an emphasis on bridging those instructional practices between 5th and 6th and 8th and 9th grade, now that our standards are aligned and articulated vertically. And finally, the California Department of Education is currently in the final stages of adopting a new math framework. This generates changes in curricular resources, which occur over a 3-year period. In light of this process and timeline, we gathered a committee of math teachers at the secondary level. They attended the California Department of Education math framework feedback sessions and learned about the new framework, and convened as a staff to analyze our readiness for new math curricular resources. The recommendation from the team of staff is to keep the middle school math curricular resources until the framework is adopted and publishers have had the opportunity to catch up to that framework adoption, which typically takes about 3 years. High school is in need of an interim resource, and we will move forward with a pilot and potential recommendation of high school math curriculum next year. Given the delay of the updated math framework by about a year from the state, this may be a shorter adoption while we await changes to the framework and the updating of the curricular resources so that they align to the framework. And we're seeing a greater emphasis in that framework on data and statistics. In closing, the part focused on secondary education, we know that results will only come through system-wide learning and progress monitoring. Last week, all of our secondary leaders, assistant principals, and principals for 22-23 came together after the end of a long graduation week To reestablish the core tenets of professional learning communities. I'm grateful for site leaders who see the importance of progress monitoring. Site leaders and teachers in ELA and math at the middle school level and all content teachers at the high school level will receive training in the fall as a result of this day that we spent together last week. And we are committed to coaching throughout the year on the use of data cycles to analyze our impact on student learning. In addition, learning walks and classroom observations are embedded into our principal and assistant principal calendars so that site leaders can observe and learn from each other and across sites and better support the implementation of instructional practices in both reading and math. With that, those are mainly tier 1, and so we know that students need more support. So I'll turn it over to Director Knox to speak to prevention and intervention.
Thank you, Director Reddy. I'd like to start by celebrating and honoring the incredible work that our sites have done this year to build multi-tiered systems of support in the midst of a global pandemic nonetheless. As Directors Manning and Reddy alluded to earlier, a multi-tiered system of support starts with a solid foundation in tier 1. And I've spoken to the trustees before and the public about understanding MTSS through a dental analogy where all patients have access to a dentist in tier 1 via checkups and cleanings and thus receiving preventative care. Despite the pandemic, NVUSD has made considerable progress over the past 2 years, building up our preventative tier 1 instruction, wherein all of our students have access to grade level teaching and learning. We've also made progress identifying and codifying those high impact classroom interventions that enable our teachers to intervene early and often. This year, with the assistance of the data and assessment team, we developed an improved Aries system to provide teachers with a clear process for documenting and monitoring the effectiveness of pre-referral interventions that they use. This system saves time, it increases transparency, and most importantly, it gets students the support that they need faster. We look forward to continuing this critical work alongside our teachers in the 2022-23 school year. While all of our students have access to tier 1, some need additional tier 2 supports. In the dental analogy, that would be cavities being filled or braces. Still others may need tier 3 supports, like a root canal or oral surgery. Within our continuum of support, students are case managed by our MTSS teams at the site level, and those teams use a data-driven process, including multiple diagnostic measures, like Director Manning alluded to earlier, to ensure that our students get the more intensive support that they need while continuing to have access to tier 1 grade level teaching and learning. So these supports, these more intensive supports include targeted support during the intervention blocks, as Director Reddy alluded to, like Flex or RTI, pull out and push in small group interventions delivered by interventionists, like the one you see on the screen here, and our support staff, our amazing support staff who support our interventionists and support classrooms, and also after school sessions. One area of focus for tier 2 in 2022-23 will be providing clearly articulated interventions in reading and math at the secondary level during the regular school day, when it's not, interfering with students after school activities, and when we can capture them, keep them with accessing the core, but get them the support that they need during their school day. Our instructional division team is committed to continuing to provide ongoing training, coaching, and technical assistance to our site administrators, MTSS teams, MTSS leads, interventionists, and support staff as they work to strengthen their site's MTSS implementation. I will now pass it back to Director Aboud, who will close us out and take any questions.
Thank you. As Director Knox said, that concludes our presentation, and we will open it up for discussion and questions.
Thank you very much. Before we get to board, we have public comment from the boardroom. Ms. Ortiz.
to know the path that will embrace high quality interactions, and to correct for past educational trauma, and to further support college and career readiness, freshman English courses, as a lot of students are entering such system low, according to data and research. An innovative and self-correcting approach in partnership with this path as not one size fits all, and how to address real world situations, apply critical thinking skills in this context. In terms of the feedback protocol, will this also apply to parents? How will the coaching look like? And I would like to know more about the assessments aligned to ELA learning progression, perhaps in a future meeting hosted by NVUSD to parents and the community. I also fully support the idea year-round of book clubs and the possibility of multilingual resource rooms at all middle school sites. Redwood Middle School is stepping up towards this approach, which is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There's no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. Trustee Gracia?
Yeah, so I'm concerned, obviously, about the stagnation that appears to happen at elementary school in reading. I mean, it looks like we improve from fall to winter, but then don't have any improvement from winter to spring. And while this data is concerning, it appears to be significantly better than what's happening at the secondary level. At secondary, we see with STAR reading an improvement from fall to winter, but then a decline back below the start of the year in the spring term. So it happens in every single grade, 6 through 12, except 10th grade, which defied the trends and held steady in both STAR math and STAR reading. Do we know if there's a reason why 10th grade was an anomaly at secondary and didn't decline past their starting point like the other 6 through 12 grades?
So there was not anything specifically implemented at the 10th grade level that would explain those scores. I think it's worth exploring in individualized teacher data. With that, it's not statistically relevant enough or high enough to show that much of a difference, but we can follow up.
And then I was looking to know, hear more about the low growth students who are depicted as approximately 1/3 of our district. I understand that part of the population of low growth students may actually include high performing students who do not have a lot of room for improvement. But there is also likely a group of students who are performing below average and are also not growing. I would like to have a better understanding of the breakdown of the slow growth category. It may be harder at the top end of the scale to facilitate growth, but I would like to know the size of the population that fits into that category.
Yes, thank you for that question, Steve Gracia. So for literacy, about a quarter of our students who are making low growth are at or above benchmark, and an additional 14% are watch. So 39% of students of the third are either at benchmark or benchmark, with the remaining students being at the intervention or urgent intervention level. And for math, about a third of the students are at or above benchmark, with an additional 13% on watch. So 46%, nearly half of students are either at benchmark or close to that, with the remaining being in low growth or the urgent intervention categories.
Thank you. I appreciate that breakdown, and I would encourage us to utilize similar breakdowns when we see these again in the future presentations. I would suggest that our math scores are concerning. It does not appear that the math results reflect our focus area for the 21-22 school year. Some of our strategies don't yet appear to be having the desired impact. And these results indicate we clearly need to do more in moving the needle forward on math instruction. I support a continued focus on this topic for the coming school year, and I really appreciate the very thorough presentation on future next steps. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Trustee Gracia. Oh, Trustee Reiser?
Yeah, thank you. I would just like to express my gratitude from the instructional division at the district leadership level to the classrooms and instructional aides that are working with our students. This was an incredibly challenging year, and I don't think it is overstating it to say that the context here is really important to keep top of mind as we look at this data. Of course, I think I would speak for everyone on this board when I say that we hope to see improvement in the achievement on this particular battery of assessments that we as a district chose to take on so that we could be even more laser focused and accountable to ourselves about our progress and measuring student growth and measuring the effectiveness of our interventions. As a professional educator with 20 years in the field, I can say that I have great confidence in the vision and the decision-making of the instructional division. It's very clear to me in the presentations and in the programs that are brought to us as a board to approve that the team is laser focused on improving student achievement, that they are research driven and data driven. And again, this data that we're looking at is a fairly new battery of assessments, the Renaissance battery of assessments that we implemented during the pandemic. And we took that on as a district because we wanted to have further and further granular clarity about how effective our strategies are and how we can improve. So I think it's just really important to remember that. System change takes time. You don't turn a ship on a dime. And I just want to say from my perspective as both a parent in the district and an educator that the course that we have been charting at the district leadership level and at the instructional division and the intervention department, all of the points that we are plotting and all of the choices, the decision points and the choices that we are making programmatically from MTSS to the review of our English learner plan to really getting laser focused on the key high impact instructional strategies. All of these things take time to impact student learning, and that the data that we're looking at is data from a year in which kids were coming out of a year of Zoom school. They were beginning the year with a great deal of unfinished learning through no fault of their own or our staff and teachers or families, and that we're all excited at the start of the year. Yay, the pandemic's over and now we get to have a normal year. And we did not have a normal year. We had surges and then another surge. We heard the data at the start of this meeting about the number of COVID cases. We had increased absences of students and staff. And I just want to reiterate the point that our interventions that were very carefully and strategically planned out by the instructional division and set to roll out and be implemented with fidelity by our staff, we couldn't do that because many times our intervention teachers had to be pulled from their jobs to go and cover classes because teachers were absent because they had COVID and we had a substitute teacher shortage. So I just want to say that, at least for me personally, I keep all of that in mind when I look at this data. And I want to say to our very, very hardworking teachers in NVUSD and our very hardworking students that have been doing their best to persist and prevail in extraordinarily challenging circumstances, that this data is an important data point, but it does not represent the entirety of the learning. It does not represent the entirety of the educational growth and personal growth, and it does not represent the challenges that teachers, staff, and students alike have been overcoming and contending with since the start of this pandemic. So I just want to end by saying thank you, NVUSD teachers, for all of your hard work. Thank you to the instructional division for all of your hard work. You are laser focused on helping our students improve, and I see that, and I'm grateful.
Thank you, Trustee Riser.
No, I was just listening.
Trustee Water.
Just listening. Comments, sorry, I keep turning it off. You were much more coherent than I could be. What a year. It just kept happening. At one point, I walked out and looked up at the sky and said, all right, it's been established. I am the boss of nothing. Can we just get a break here? And no, we know you can take it, Cindy. Here it comes. And so it is true. It's very difficult to implement a plan when your teachers are absent, when your students are absent. And I have to say, I had taught secondary school for quite a long time, more years than I've forgotten how many years. But I do know that secondary students are very crafty, and they do know that the test scores do not count on their grade. Isn't that correct? Yes. In fact, sometimes teachers tell them it doesn't count on their grade and won't even be on their transcript. And that's helpful in, nurturing and everything for the student's viewpoint. But, when you're looking at test scores, sometimes a little bit of, it helps. And I keep thinking of it seems like, bless their hearts. They all graduated last year, and they're going to go off and do very well in life, no matter what these test scores say. What I'd like to do is complement the presentation. By the way, we had a meeting yesterday where we have taken stands on what we're going to be doing with the curriculum in the future. We're very excited about it, and I'm looking forward to great improvement all around in an organic manner, not just on a test score. I was glad when Mr. Manning was talking, I was glad to hear about the positive teacher feedback on ELA. District writing assessment, I remember administering that. Every year we would moan about the quality of the questions and all that, but no matter what you said, it was something that the entire school district did at once, and it gave us a snapshot of how our students were writing. Content area literacy is extremely important, so students understand that reading is not something that is confined to an ELA class, but goes across the board. It's extremely important. I like the talk about making sure the assignments align with the priority standards. That seems pretty basic. And then I did make a note here of absences and how some of the interventions were a bit of a challenge, but the recording exemplary lessons for teachers, I think, is a wonderful idea, because teachers learn from each other. I think sometimes much more than our high-priced consultants. And then as for secondary, again, crossing ELA, English language arts, crossing content areas. I'm really interested in the secondary book club. I got a listing of the books. There are 40 books that are going to be offered in secondary, and I'm going to be running one of the book clubs. I invite you all to come. And 40 high interest, really some high quality writing in there, at least the titles that I recognized. And the students, so they are all going to find at least one book that they really connect with. And I do think that while I'm a fan of required reading, certain books are absolute basics. There's a lot to be said for student choice and creating interest in reading in general. And I was interested in the reestablishing the tenets of the PLC and making sure that site leaders, that's principals, I know they're very busy, I understand that, but make sure they check in and see what's going on in the classroom. I think that's absolutely the most important thing they can do. And overall, I'm really looking forward to next year. I think that we've got a great plan in place, and I know that we have the staff that can do it. So I want to thank all of you.
Thank you, Trustee Water. I appreciate that.
I'll be brief. I just looking at the graphs, I'm just glad they don't look like our declining enrollment. The fact that I can go back to 2020 and that was the start of where we are now, and to not see a steep decline across all of it, just really, really low. It's, you know, everything that's been mentioned in terms of the tremendous hard work, dedication of, and if we are taking the time to take care of a kiddo's teeth as part of their education, and we're making that linkage because it's so true. It's so true. It's like, what are we not setting up ourselves for to help our kids succeed? So it's just a tremendous amount of work. And I'm not in the education field, like the two trustees here on my right. And I just commend that commitment from all of our staff, because it's been a lot. And we are only talking about this world in the professional setting. And at the end of the day, also, these are folks that have lives and families and homes from everybody, and it has not been easy. So there you have it.
Thank you very much. Just a quick wrap up. I appreciate the addition of the executive summary. It gave context to our percentages as they relate to the state and national averages. I think this is important because we see a pattern in our data. We need to understand if it is relevant just to our population of students, or if due to the many variables, this trend has state and or national implications and relevance. My takeaway from the data is understanding growth in relation to achievement within the context of the last couple of years. Some of our students may be performing at a low level, yet experiencing high rates of growth. Conversely, some high-performing students' growth could be stagnating. This information must have context, such as how significant is the growth given a student's achievement history. And I understand the critical nature of this data, but we must remember that our data is predicated on a baseline determined just about last year. Percentage increases of any magnitude take time. That is not a rationalization. It is accurate in the analysis of most any performance cycle. I did spend some time researching achievement trends. NWEA, McKinsey, and Brookings Institute are a few of the many research-based education institutions that have studied the impacts of the pandemic, learning lags and loss, and the intersection with student achievement and growth in math and reading. Consistent data states that the achievement gap between the highest and lowest performing students widened for the second year in a row, and most achievement trends are not showing signs of immediate significant recovery. We need to make sure we broaden the lens in how we look at our data and understand that, recovery timelines are different for all and will not be uniformly reflected in these numbers. Recovery times will vary across students, schools, and districts. The consensus amongst the experts is it is not just the programming in isolation that drives achievement. It is the current composition of the student body, the recalibration of faculty, the current and residual impact of the pandemic, the social and emotional wherewithal of our entire NVUSD community, and the impact of remote learning that plays into these current statistics. For some students, recovery might be this year, and for others, they will just be getting started on what will be a multi-year process of catching up. This too will be reflected in our percentages. It will take some time for our percentage gains to be significantly reflected in a consistent form. Our learning recovery efforts have begun. We are piloting programs, high quality assessments, have a gold standard summer school program, and full-scale interventions. I must add that it seems like a small miracle that we didn't see massive regression based on the student and faculty data that Dr. Massetti presented earlier in her board comments. We all want increased achievement gains for our students. One of the most difficult hurdles to overcome is to manage and understand expectations within a context that is dramatically different than what has been our status quo. It is understandable that achievement scores may lag behind intervention investments. I recognize our efforts and ability to intervene and influence learning. Diverse impacts require diverse solutions, and the assessment process will continue to help guide those solutions. This is a Herculean effort, and I want to recognize the instructional and intervention teams for all their heavy lifting. Thank you.
testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing, testing.
Patience. We are now moving on to I2A. Human Resources, the Napa Valley Unified School District Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, DEI, and Talent Plan Progress Update. Assistant Superintendent, are we?
Ms. Page. Yep, Ms. Page.
This will be a collective effort between Human Resources Department and the Instructional Department with Assistant Superintendent Pat Andre Jennings. Mr. Michaels, could you go ahead and put up the presentation for us? Okay, next slide, please. We are pleased to present the progress we've made over the course of this school year in completing the action items identified by the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee in the spring of 2021. Next slide, please. When we presented the original 3-year plan, we shared the goals and action steps related to these 9 areas of need. The action plans are nested within these 9 areas, but in reality, many of them cross over to multiple areas at once. Next slide, please. Tonight, I will present along with Director 3 of Human Resources, Elizabeth Gonzalez, and Assistant Director of Human Resources, Gina DeLuca, on the action items from the DE&I plan in year 1 by the HR department. Next slide, please. For almost a decade, the NVUSD has had some form of hiring goal to increase the number of administrators and teachers from underrepresented minorities, particularly educators of color and LGBTQ+. But progress has been extremely slow, and we realized something fundamental was missing. In order to attain our diversity hiring goals, first, Human Resources had to examine our recruitment efforts in general and ask whether we were even in the driver's seat when it came to hiring. Were we actively seeking candidates or just posting and hoping? Was our image as an employer clear, and was it in a place where candidates we wanted to hire would see it? If we could attract these candidates, then could we retain them? The first priority had to be to take our marketing efforts to a new level, and that begins with a clearly articulated employer brand. The employer brand is what we promise current and prospective employees about the experience of working here. And it goes beyond compensation and includes culture, opportunities for growth, purpose, and other tangible and intangible benefits. To create a positive, compelling, and authentic image that we could market effectively to candidates, we worked with diverse focus groups of current employees. We asked questions like, why would a talented person want to start working for the NVUSD? And why would they want to continue to work for the NVUSD? From their feedback, we crafted our unique employer value proposition, which is summarized in the marketing message you see on this slide. Transform your career by joining a collaborative, inclusive environment that offers the opportunity to do the most innovative, rewarding work. Be part of a family-oriented, welcoming community that thrives in one of the nation's most picture-perfect settings. With the same focus groups, we also explored the employee competencies most needed for success in our organization. We determined every NVUSD employee had to demonstrate collaboration, adaptability, and a purpose-driven orientation. As we broaden our reach to new candidates, core competencies expectations help us simultaneously narrow the slate to individuals with the best chance of long-term success. The development of an employment brand and core competencies is a keystone accomplishment for many of the other actions listed in the DE&I plan and the NVUSD strategic goals. You will see in our next slides how this effort helped lay the foundation of other recruitment and hiring efforts in year 1. In the future, our investment in a proactive human resources strategy will position us for success in hiring, developing, and retaining talented and diverse employees for the NVUSD. Next slide, please.
In August 2021, the Human Resources team selected NAS Recruitment and Communications, a web development consulting team, as our partner in designing a strong message and concept meant to assist us in attracting a diverse, well-trained workforce. After sharing a series of potential campaigns among numerous NVUSD focus groups, the See Their Future in Your Eyes concept was selected as the unanimous choice. Our new hiring platform will seamlessly link to the Join Our Team button, which appears on the homepage of our NVUSD website. It can also connect to a wide variety of social media platforms, which will better reach diverse candidates for all of the certificated and classified positions we are filling. Our new HR recruitment website and platform is currently under development, and we eagerly look forward to its launch in the 22-23 school year. Next slide, please.
After identifying core competencies for success for every employee in the NVUSD, we began this spring to incorporate them into our hiring process. Now, every interview we conduct includes core questions meant to determine a candidate's aptitude for collaboration, whether they are adaptable, and if they are truly driven by the purpose of serving students. We captured these changes in new procedures and paperwork, which is user-friendly for all of the various hiring managers and panelists who may be part of the selection process, and ensures consistency and fairness across the organization. Next slide, please.
As part of our DE&I plan, we learned that classified employees as a group felt less included and less valued than certificated employees. This was important to address because our classified group is the most diverse group within our organization, comprising the majority of employees of color. So first, we started gathering more information to help improve communication, which is a foundation to help people feel connected within the organization and each other. Throughout the school year, we met with various classified departments to better understand what is working and identify gaps in communication and inclusion. The feedback that we gathered confirmed that the majority of employees use email and text to communicate within their department. Second, we provided training to employees who needed to learn more about how to access their email through their smartphones to increase access to email communications. We also found that some employees wanted to be able to translate the biweekly NVUSD staff newsletter through the Google Translate app, and the communications department made the how-to information available. Third, in collaboration with CSEA, we addressed the gap in communication between district and sites by creating clerical lead positions who receive additional compensation to serve as liaisons, to provide a voice in decision-making with the clerical perspective, and to help support and unify the clerical team from across the district. And finally, based on our feedback, we made immediate adjustments to how we communicated about COVID, which ensured all employees received the same health and safety information. Next slide, please. Another goal was to increase classified participation in the professional learning days, which were historically geared more towards certificated staff. We implemented what we learned from the communication meetings and the survey input to get the word out to classified employees more effectively and to provide more relevant content based on their requested needs. We saw an increase in participation from 46 classified staff attending the October day to 125 classified staff attending the March day. And the increase doesn't even reflect the fact that maintenance and operations, custodial, and food service also use those days to plan, develop department-specific training, thus including even more classified employees and opportunities to grow and learn. Other ways that we are promoting inclusion is also by featuring classified employees prominently in the staff spotlight section of the biweekly NVUSD staff newsletter and other celebrations of their work. Next slide, please.
We intentionally developed celebrations designed to include all employees in an effort to build positive morale and foster the idea that we are a singular team NVUSD. For example, at both our 2021 and 2022 annual employee retirement celebrations, employees from both groups, classified and certificated, were invited and included in the same celebration and board presentation. Also, this year we inaugurated our annual Employee Excellence Award ceremony, which recognizes and celebrates the great work being done by all employee categories. And now, every May, we officially celebrate a singular, inclusive Employee Celebration Week, which calls attention to the value of our entire NVUSD team and the power we have as a diverse, interconnected workforce with a common purpose, supporting our students. Next slide, please.
This year, NVUSD tripled its efforts to honor and compensate employees for using their multilingual skills on the job. We previously had a bilingual stipend for classified employees, and now we have one for teachers who are teaching in settings which require a bilingual authorization, and a similar stipend for psychologists, speech language pathologists, social workers, and behaviorists. This took collaboration with our labor partners, NVEA and NAPS, and we are proud that we collectively share an interest in honoring this specialized and highly valuable skill. Next slide, please.
The NVUSD has never been before analyzed why its employees choose to resign. This year, a simple Google form tool was created, an online confidential exit interview, which is emailed from HR to departing employees as a way for them to provide us with feedback regarding the reasons behind their departure. This optional form also invites employees to provide additional feedback through an in-person confidential meeting. As we continue to collect more data from our departing employees, we hope to be able to see trends which could help us identify areas where we need to improve in general. And as we strive to hire and retain more underrepresented employees, exit interview data will help give us insight into whether we are truly fostering conditions for an equitable and inclusive workplace. On behalf of the Human Resources team, we wish to thank you for the time to present our work to you tonight. Now, I will hand it over to Assistant Superintendent Pat Andre Jennings.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Page and the Human Resources team. Good evening again, President Jankowicz, Board Trustees, Dr. Musetti, and the NVUSD community. Thank you for this opportunity to share a bit about the work done this school year to implement the student practices action items indicated in the board adopted Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan. Before I start to share, I wanted to just state that we believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not something that we do in a silo, that it is integrated into all the work that we do in the instructional division. Tonight, I will share a few highlights and key components of our NVUSD DEI plan that involves instruction. Next slide, please. Oh, next slide and next slide. Oops, there we go. Student practices was one of the 9 areas included in the DEI plan. In this section, the plan focused on aligning and implementing restorative practices across all of our school sites. Further, the plan included the examination and broadening of our current curriculum to reflect the diversity of our students, as well as the development of guidelines to support staff innovation and engagement with DEI content and efforts. The plan also set providing comprehensive and cohesive training that creates and fosters equitable and inclusive spaces of learning as a goal. And finally, the plan established as a goal an audit of the support that we are currently providing to our English learners. Next slide, please. We were determined to center student voice in this work as we built and implemented the DEI plan. Next slide. As I mentioned, laying the foundation began with the centering of student voice. The creation of an NVUSD Student Advisory Council with representatives from each high school provided students with a forum to share their ideas with district leaders. This past year, students worked with Dr. Victor Rios to develop leadership skills and to prepare a presentation for district and site leaders about their experiences, needs, and potential solutions to problems that they had identified. Based on the students' presentation, several action items were written into our local control accountability plan. Also, in response to the needs students shared, our leadership summit in August will focus on creating what we are calling an ecosystem of Cariño, surrounding students with support, care, and essentially love, while also holding high expectations for academic performance. Dr. Rios and his team will work with site leaders as well as teachers, counselors, and social workers on his risk to promise framework. Additionally, one key piece of our foundation in the DEI plan is our English learner master plan. Over the last year and a half, we have worked with consultants from WestEd to perform an audit of our English learner services and co-created a master plan to improve academic achievement of our English learners. The English Learner Master Plan will be presented to the board in August for approval and the beginning of implementation. Next slide, please. With the foundation laid, we have added to and strengthened the structures that support our DEI student practices. Restorative practices have been a foundational piece of the work of our schools, particularly at the middle and high school level. We've also had the addition of inclusive curriculum and courses through ethnic studies. We've increased math options at the secondary level. We've added the rainbow kits and our author series, all to create inclusive, safe, and welcoming learning environments for all students. Additionally, a translation scheduling structure was developed to ensure high-quality translation services at school events. Next slide, please. Last, yet most significant, is adding the electrical to this house that we are building, this DEI house we are building. Professional learning is what charges the system and allows for changes in our students' school and classroom experiences in our schools. With the foundation laid, the electricity will be added this upcoming school year with professional learning focused on building a caring community with high academic expectations for all students. Thank you. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much. Trustee Chu.
So I just want to say that I think there's no other better example than looking at of this work than looking at who we appointed today in the assistant principal and principal positions. They are a very diverse group of wonderful administrators, some new, some that are continuing on their journey to become better and in different schools. But you know, coming from American Canyon, where everyone is very diverse, there's no major racial ethnic group in our community. It's really welcoming to see that, because when our students see themselves in their teachers, in their administrators, I think they feel more comfortable. And I think creating that inclusive environment just allows them to learn in a more comfortable way. So really happy of this work that's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Chu. I have one quick thing to say. This work really does show we are committed to building a community where everyone feels like they belong, and this requires a system-wide commitment to DEI. Our efforts as presented show that we are not trying to address isolated issues. We are addressing the system as a whole. I appreciate the holistic focus on students, staff, professional development for faculty, and curriculum. DEI transformation requires investment in awareness and the redesign of inequitable systems simultaneously. And this is some of the most important work we do as a district. The impact of diversity and inclusion improves culture, learning, and it improves teaching. DEI work is an important reminder that NVUSD continues to pursue an equity-based educational community that caters to all and develops their educational experience accordingly. Regardless of a student's background, language, race, disability, or learning capability, each of our students has the opportunity to get the support and resources they need to achieve their educational goals. And the other reminder about our DEI work, our students are paying attention. They are looking at us to appreciate diversity, strive for equity, and create educational spaces where all are included. And let's not forget that some of our most profound leaders in this work are the students themselves. Okay, we are through.
Can I just, yeah, I'll just, I think it's really great to see the work be intentional. I think as individuals in the district, we strive for that kind of inclusion, and for folks who have lived in that space, understand the importance of diversity and equity. But when you have a plan and you're strategic and intentional and you bring those perspectives and go through the why and how we're going to do that, then it becomes impactful. So thank you for doing the hard work of not just saying the words, but creating the impact.
Thank you. All right, on to we went through J1, A, B, C, and D, so we will restart with E. It's a resolution number 2240, authorizing continued use of remote teleconferencing provisions pursuant to AB 361 and Government Code Section 54953.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Do we have any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please, Vera.
Yes, trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Resolution 2241, adoption. Oh, whoops, sorry. Wait, is that correct? Yes. Adoption of resolution calling for election.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you, Mr. Michaels. Vera, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Contract with Target River.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We move on to business services, adoption of the 2022-23 budget.
Move to approve.
First
but
by,
like some discussion.
first by trustee Gracia,
I'll second.
second by trustee Chu.
So I was concerned that on the 127th page that we talked about our ADA actually increasing by 100 students when we're in a declining enrollment environment. And so I thought that that was not really an appropriate budget assumption to base our revenues upon. And so I'd like to hear from Mr. Mangwala about an explanation.
Absolutely, trustee Gracia. So the reason for that is that our ADA percentage for the current year is much lower than normal. So due to COVID absences, we're sitting around 91% in terms of our attendance rate. So if you multiply 91% times about 16,500, which was our enrollment on CalPADS Day, versus our enrollment for next year of 16,000 times 95%, you actually get a higher number for next year. So even though we have declining enrollment, we're so negatively impacted by COVID this year that our actual ADA will be higher for next year. So enrollment continues to decline, but our actual ADA is anticipated to be slightly higher. Now, this is just, again, an anticipated number that we use to build the budget. Every year when we look at our ADA, when you build a budget at this time of year, you always adjust it based on the number of students who show up in the fall. So what you'll see happening is when we go to first interim, I will adjust the ADA, and the enrollment based on the number of students that actually show up.
Okay. I guess I have a concern still now, even given that explanation, that COVID's not going to disappear, so it seems unlikely we would just return to a 95% enrollment figure rather than somewhere between 1 and 95.
Sure. Yeah, it's overall, this is a very conservative assumption. Our budgets have always been conservative. We also know that there's potentially additional money going through Prop 98, which is not included in this budget. We do not have a tool to estimate that yet. So overall, from my perspective, based on the information I know right now, the total revenues are on the lower side. I would anticipate, even with what the assumptions that you're calling out, for ADA, our revenues are probably on the low side because there's been lots of discussions at the legislative level to add more. So big picture, it's still a conservative assumption.
All right, I'll move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia. Yeah, I thought there was. I thought we have a first and we have a second. No problem. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
2022-23 budget passes. Resolution 2242 budget reserves. May I get a motion?
Oh, yes.
I know, but we still have to do a first
Move
and a
to
second.
approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Riser. Is there any public comment, Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
May I get a roll call vote, please, Vera?
Yes, trustee Jankowicz,
Aye.
trustee Gracia,
Aye.
trustee Water,
Aye.
trustee Ricer,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Aye.
trustee Shu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Approval of Mitel System Support Agreement with Totalcom.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to human resources. Removal of board policy 4119.44, removal of policy to require COVID-19 vaccination for employees and other individuals who perform work in the district.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. University of Massachusetts Global Administration Internship Agreement.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do I have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Instructional services. LCAP and LCAP Federal Addendum.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Data sharing agreement with Dreambox Learning.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Adoption of middle school core instructional material recommendation for world language.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
I'll second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. PEI contract between Napa Valley Educational Foundation and NVUSD.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
I'll second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. MSA contract between Napa Valley Education Foundation and NVUSD.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Agreement between NCOE and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
I'll second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to operational services. Request for interagency agreement between NOSH and Boys and Girls Club of Napa.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Maintenance and operation disposition of equipment assets.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels?
There is no public comment for this item.
5B passes. Moving on to school plan. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
I apologize. Motion passes. School planning and construction, SPC 1.9-22, request for contract for consulting services with Fry's Consulting.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
Second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC 1.10.22, request for audit services with Chavin and Associates for West Park and Valley Oak School Facility Program Audit.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia. Second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any virtual public comment?
There is no public comment on this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC number 1.11-22, request for 12 additional months under contract with VPCS to provide program and project management services. May I get a motion?
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC 15.5-22, request for contract with Vital Inspection Services for Napa High School Fire Line Repairs Project.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SP number 15.6-22, request for contract with construction testing services for the Napa High School Fire Line repairs.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC number 18.71-20, request for commissioning services for Napa High School Gym HVAC replacement.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC number 18.72-20, request for commissioning services for the Napa Valley Language Academy campus.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC number 18.73-20, request for commissioning services for the Redwood Middle School Gym HVAC replacement project.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any virtual public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SPC number 16.40-17, request for contract with Gates and Associates for design services for phase 4 of the district-wide fencing project.
Move to approve.
First by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Chu. Mr. Michaels,
There is no public comment for this item.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. SBC number 18.7-20, request for contract of services with KYA Group for gym floor refinishing.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Gracia, first by trustee Gracia,
Second.
second by trustee Riser and Chu. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public, it was by trustee Riser for clarification. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We move on to informational. Under general services, we only have one committee meeting that has minutes attached. It's the finance committee. We move on to instructional services. Any comment on the LCAP performance indicator? Chronic absenteeism, which I think we know. Okay. Additional suggestions and comments from board members and superintendent? Future agenda items?
One comment.
Yes.
Congratulations on the last board meeting of the 21-22 school year.
And might I add, if just shush, we might be out of here before 10.
Great job, President Jankowicz, on the first half of your tenure as president.
Thank you
Excellent
very
job.
much. Thank you. Any future agenda items? Okay, may I get a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
First by trustee Gracia. Second by trustee Chu. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned. Thank you very much.